Improvement Commission for the city of Seaside, the Neighborhood Improvement Commission, Tuesday, January 18th, 2022, 6 o'clock. And we are virtual on Zoom. So the first item is call to order. The second item is roll call. So we're going to roll call vote, please.
Alex Miller,
Here.
Ramona Aleda Reed,
Here.
Dennis Alexander,
Here.
Shanda LaBeouf,
Present.
Veronica Velasco,
Here.
Ray Reardon,
Here.
and I apologize, I will remove Miss Anderson's name.
Wonderful. We have everybody here tonight. That is a good thing. Thank you for your service to the city of Seaside. And last week we didn't have a quorum at the meeting, but it's nice to see everybody here tonight. So we will move to item 3, and that is review of the agenda. So if there are any items that arose after the 72-hour posting deadline, this is the part where the point in the meeting where we can add to the agenda. Is there anything to add?
Yes.
Okay.
I'd like to add the Blue Zone trash pickup. I think Veronica brought it up a couple of meetings ago, and I'd like to pursue that.
Okay, now items can be added to the agenda that are meet specific requirements in terms of like urgency and require certain thing without being posted. So is this of an urgent matter? I mean, is there
No.
something?
No, not urgent. I'll add it onto my my own notes at the end of the meeting and put it on have it for the agenda. Thank you.
Okay, anything else? Okay, we will move on to item number 4, which is public comment. So anybody wishing to address this commission from the public may do so now. And as always, I ask if we've received any emails from the commission email box.
Staff did not receive any comments via email or phone call.
Thank you. Public comment still open? Okay, we'll move on to item closed public comment and move on to item 5, which is our business for the night. Every year we get to elect new officers, so we'll move on to item 5A, and I will take about 3 to 5 minutes in item 5A, and then we'll take it out to the commission. So it's been an honor to be the chairman of this commission since January 2018, and have been a commissioner for over 5 years. Everyone always says that Seaside has great potential, and I believe it the most. I support fresh ideas and thinking by moving around positions to maximize creativity. So at the end of this agenda item, I will pass the chairmanship on to another person. To complete projects on the NIC, a chairman must have a direct path and a vision for that goal. Every item is met with challenges and obstacles, but successful leadership focuses on overcoming those instead of accepting them. Seaside needs its commissions. It needs its commissioners and residents who truly love the city like everybody, like all of us. I must move on from chair this year because I have lofty goals. Not only am I building my law practice, but also travel a little bit if COVID lets me. I'm also running for city council of this great city because I believe my vision can help shape the city in a bigger way as a council member. Your support in my campaign would mean a lot to me. I'm most proud of the accomplishments we've achieved over the past 3 years, changing the name of the commission from NIPC to NIC, replacing all the neighborhood watch signs throughout the city, co-sponsoring Earth Days, PG&E, fence repaint, Sonoma basketball court, and of course the Portal Project. Not to mention the 23 Houses of the Month awards, 12 neighborhood cleanups, and 14 businesses of the quarter. But the biggest honor was actually changing the NIC budget. When I first started, the NIC had roughly $1,500 a year. But with Dave Pacheco's help, now we have a budget in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. In fact, this commission currently has $108,000 that we need to make a recommendation to the city council now. Jackie and David, thank you. I know I'm not the easiest person to work with, but you survived me. Congratulations. And to every commissioner, past or future, thank you for giving your time to the great city of Seaside. As Gandhi said, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. Now I will open up discussion for Chairman 2022.
Hi, can I speak? This is Ramona.
Yes, please.
Okay, I'm going to withdraw my name as the co-chair, and I thank all of you for letting me serve in that role. However, I would still like to stay on the NIC as a commissioner, or neighborhood improvement as a commissioner. And with that being said, I would like to nominate LaShonda LeBeau. That's the way I pronounce it, Shanda, I'm sorry. LeBeau as our new chairman of the board, if you will.
Okay, further discussion? Anybody else?
Alex, it's Dennis here.
Yes.
First, I want to thank you for your service and everything you've done. Having been the chair of this commission many years ago, I know it is a lot of work, and I really commend you on the in your work with the council, particularly with Mr. Pacheco, and city staff in general, as far as raising the budget. So, you know, I wish you the best of luck in your endeavors, particularly when it comes to your wishes for the city. And so I just want to thank you for what you've done for the city and with this commission.
Thank you. That means a lot to me.
Hi, I want to say something. Can you hear me? I too, as well, want to say thank you so much, Alex, for all that you've done. I've learned a lot from you. You were always, I look up to you, and I wish you luck on trying to be in the city council. I agree with you. I think that Shonda would be or actually with Ramona, I think Shonda would be a good replacement. That's just my opinion. But thank you so much for everything that you've done, and good luck to everything that you're going to do.
Thank you. And I'm still going to be on the commission and helping. I'm just not going to be the chairman, so somebody else can take that role. So I'm still going to work and complete some of the projects that we've already started. So anybody else? Okay, so we have a nomination on the floor. Is there any other nominations? Okay, so we'll just need a motion to that effect. I know that Ramona said that she would not be the vice chair. I would be happy to fulfill that role, or if somebody else wants to fulfill that role. Discussion on that.
Alex, if you want to fulfill that role, great. If not, I'd be happy to take that position or nominate myself for the position.
Okay, great. So we have Sandra as chair and Dennis as vice chair. Any other discussion?
I nominate you as vice chair.
Okay. Anybody else? I'm going to make a motion. My motion is that Sandra becomes the chairman and Dennis Alexander becomes the vice chairman. And that's my motion.
Alex, don't you have to make them two separate motions?
You can do it that way if you prefer. but I'm going to leave my motion the way it is.
I second.
Okay. There's a first and a second. Open up to the public for public comment. Okay, hearing no public comment. And we have a first and a second. So we'll call for a roll call vote, please.
Alex Miller,
Yes.
Ramona Aleda Reed,
Yes,
Dennis Alexander,
Yes,
Shanda LaBeouf,
Yes.
Veronica Velasco,
Yes.
Ray Reardon.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Okay. That passes that, and I will move the torch on, and we are on item 5B. So Chairwoman LaBeouf, you may take the realm.
Well, thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. This is such an honor. Alex, thank you so much for your leadership, and I hope I can count on you for assistance and your guidance through this. But you've been a remarkable help, and your wealth of knowledge is impeccable, and I really hope to mine your brain during this time. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So our next item is consideration of the 2021 holiday decorating contest. Is that what we're on?
Item B, the holiday decoration contest.
Yes. Okay. So what do we have for this? Jackie, you sent out an email last month about this, right?
I did. So we had 2 actual entries that kind of submitted. And then we had 2 people that were nominated by commissioner. And so I think what we were doing was the commission was going to decide whether they wanted to award the 2 that actually submitted, or if they wanted to take into consideration the 2 nominees. I believe that's what the commission was going to discuss this evening.
Okay, so we had 2 nominees submitted by we had 2 nominees by submission and 2 submitted by the commission. Is that what I understand you saying?
That's correct.
Okay. Let's open this up for discussion. What do we want to consider? Do we want to award all 4 of these houses? First of all, are there any duplicates, or are they 4 different houses?
They were 4 completely different houses.
Okay. Anybody have any questions?
Yes. Well, I make a suggestion. Could we just give all 4 houses the prize, the door prize?
We can.
And then
We can do that.
And could we vote on eliminating this this thing? I don't think it's a good thing, because it's mainly for who has money, number one, because people can't afford to decorate their homes, like compared to people that make 100,000 compared to 10,000. Number two, we got no participation except for really 2 people. And for the lack of participation, I suggest that we just put an end to it. It was a good run, and be done with it, and figure out something else for the holidays that would include everybody from the low income to the high income, and we do it that way. That's just throwing it out there.
Okay, I hear what you're saying. Can I say something before I bring it out there for everybody else? I hear what you're saying, but it's not necessarily for people who are rich or wealthy. This has been something that's been going on for a while. And I think it was just because of the pandemic and the lack of people, the lack of the information getting out. And it's just been, last year has just been one of those years that's just been an off year for everybody. So we can kind of chalk that into the bin, but I don't want to just completely eliminate it. But I don't mind. I would totally go for awarding prizes for everyone. But if anybody has any other suggestions, we can entertain that.
Well, I'd like to comment on what you just said. The homes are chosen by their decorations, okay? Mainly lights, blow up balloons, things like that. And a family that makes $15,000 and a family that makes $70,000, there's a huge difference. And that is where I'm getting at, that we drive around, we pick these homes. It's because of what they got hanging from their homes and their trees. And the house that has the little lights in the front window that some kids put up and hoping Santa Claus shows up, I don't think not one has ever been picked since I've watched this go on. And so I just say it like it is. It does come down to money. I mean, I'm sorry, it does. And it just isn't fair for me to put up $10,000 with the lights while the other guy, family can't afford it and they get snuffed. Because not one of us has chosen or a house that has one string of lights. And it just isn't fair to low income people. And,
Well, it's all about the submissions too. I mean, are they submitting things? It comes back to, are they submitting entries?
Well,
I'm a bottom line. Are they submitting entries?
My next question is can they even know how to submit them because they don't have internet? They don't have internet. They can't afford it. I mean, I would rather have the money go towards getting everybody internet in Seaside than on a religious putting up lights on a house that doesn't do anything for anybody. I mean, I'm sorry to be this way. I'm Catholic, don't get me wrong, but it just has been overblown on this. And what, in COVID or not, you only had 2 people submit. 2, not 10, 2. Because I don't count the other 2 that were nominated by the commissioners. Okay. I'm just saying, unless I'm seeing something different and you guys have nominated or has one string of lights on the house been nominated, I might be wrong.
I appreciate your comments, Ray. Thank you. Does anybody else have any comments?
So I know Veronica and I do, and Chivalry's not dead yet, so Veronica.
Okay, no, I agree with what Ray is saying. Maybe, I mean, for this coming year, we can do something different. And maybe it doesn't necessarily have to be the house, because not everybody has a house. Some people have an apartment. And as just an example, I just kind of thought of something right now as you were speaking, right? Maybe we can do like I don't know, this kind of sounds funny, like something in a window that represents an ugly Christmas sweater that everybody can kind of like fix something up. I don't know, something that everybody could possibly afford. Doesn't have to be extravagant, maybe change it up a bit, because that is very true. For the average person who has a big home that has a lot of money, yes, you can go and spend $10,000 worth of lights, or I'm just over exaggerating, but and then you have someone who has an apartment that, because I remember when I was younger and my sister, it's funny that you say, we decorated our windows with some lights, some snowflakes, and we sprayed some stuff, and that was our Christmas. And so yeah, I agree with that. Maybe we can do it differently. I don't know, we can talk about that, but the house, of the Christmas thing, maybe it's not just the house, it's an apartment, or I don't know. I agree with that. It's a
Yeah.
condo, it's a house, but that's just, maybe we can do something when it gets closer and think of it and word it differently, something like that.
I see Ray's point too. However, we
Okay.
did indeed have 12 to 15 applicants prior to COVID. So let's keep that in mind. As long as I've been in commission, you know, we had a little bus that took us around. It took us forever, of course, but there were like 12 or 15 contestants. And some of those were, one of them was a, oh gosh, organic or I forget what we labeled it, but it was someone that did their own decorations.
I think
You
they
know,
were recycled
yeah, recycled.
material.
Yeah, we did it from that. Thank you, Jackie. We voted on that. But with everything said, how about, so those people that are living in the apartment dwellers, how about if we had a door prize, or excuse me,
Yeah.
not a door prize, but a door, just, you know, your front door. We used to do that in offices. At one department I worked in, they decorated their office doors. So maybe that could be something we look at, but I don't think
Yeah,
it can be
we
decided
can,
tonight. But I do
that's,
agree with Ray,
that's an idea.
all four contestants, candidates should get a prize for tonight. So we can get that
Definitely.
and then put that on the agenda for next time.
Thank you. Dennis, you
Thank
had a
you.
question?
I do have a comment, or not just comment. I
Just
see, I don't know if it
comment,
was Dave
okay.
or Jackie that just put on the, you know, what part of the goals of the NIC are. And I agree, I was about to mention that, is that I see this no different as the house of the month or house of the quarter, because it creates neighborhood community spirit. And the whole money issue, maybe we need to talk some more about that, maybe another time, because I understand, and what Ray is saying, I fully makes me think about it some more. Maybe some, you know, some different categories to judge by, whether, you know, because symmetry looks nice too, but it doesn't have to be overblown with a bunch of lights that cost a lot. So there could be other categories we need to, you know, if we're gonna judge number one, number two, number three, or, you know, everyone who, or whoever gets the top prizes gets the same thing, rather than, you know, number one, number two, number three, as far as awards. But number one, I just want to say right now, number one, I think we should keep the Christmas decorations contest. It creates just what it was put up on the screen there. It creates community spirit. And people who decorate their houses aren't going to do it for the prize that they might receive from the city anyway. It's about their own spirit at a very joyful time of year. But what it does, though, is by the city through our commission, by recognizing it, it lets them know the city recognizes it and wants to commend them on their efforts. So I think we keep it. You know, how we change the parameters, maybe we need to look at that some more. And as far as awards, I understand what Ray is saying. Maybe we need to have some other qualifications that don't necessarily put all of our judgment on just what looks the most spectacular. Because, like I said, one example of symmetry could be much better in as far as looks than just a huge amount of lights. So, you know, but I really do think we need to keep it. I'm adamant about that, as we keep the contest. It shows that it shows people who engage that the city is behind this effort and is uplifting community spirit and no different than I think is the house of the month. Thank you.
Thank
If
you,
I may,
Dennis.
through the chair.
Yes,
So it was just brought, I don't know if the commissioners can see on the chat. David was nice enough to pull up Seaside Municipal Code Section 2.24.040. And it states that the Neighborhood Improvement Commission is to encourage citizens and merchants to decorate their homes and businesses during the holiday
thank
season.
you.
So I just wanted
Thank
to
you.
put that out there, make sure everybody can see it.
Thank you. That's
Yeah.
very important. Thank you.
Can I say something on that point? I wasn't around when Seaside was invented and all that, and all this was made, and all these bylaws were implemented. And I know we quote this over and over when we talk about certain things. It is to change, okay? And Seaside used to be a military place, okay? And most people were not very well off. And things like this was just fine. But I look at the Jewish people doesn't get anything out of this. The poor people doesn't get anything out of this. But we keep on saying it's part of our bylaws of the commission for the holiday to be decorated, and we do all this. How about thinking outside that box, folks, and say, maybe we need to change some things on our commission to go along with what's going on in the world around us? Because 12 people last year, 2 people this year, we're not getting the buy-in. So let's find something different. 10 years ago, I remember I was hanging Christmas lights for the neighbor kids. I wouldn't do it for anybody now because I'm not falling off the ladder. I mean, who's kidding who? I mean, I think a lot of us aren't doing things that we did 10 years ago. So saying, oh, this is part of our bylaws, maybe it's time to change some things for the NIC, because 12 people is not a representation of Seaside. 2 people aren't. 15 isn't. I mean, I'm sorry to be the dweller of bad news, but putting that up kind of irritates me that, oh yeah, if it's in print, we got to keep doing it. That's
It's a municipal code. It's not a bylaw. It's a Seaside municipal code. So you'd have to
Okay,
go through the city.
Okay,
But I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're
Seaside
saying.
Municipal Code. I'm sorry, I'm not using the right language, but it's time for change. You know, it really is.
Okay.
But
Thank you. Alex, you had something to say?
No, I just wanted to say that I do appreciate the conversation, and the code probably is outdated, and Commissioner Reardon, I'd be happy to go to the city council with you and advocate for a change in this code.
okay,
But I don't think that's the agenda item tonight, so I'm gonna make a motion. My motion is to approve the 4 submissions that we got, split it equally between the 25%, and to move on to the next item.
Thank you. Thank you,
Yeah.
Alex. Is that agreeable, Ray?
sounds good to me.
Okay, groovy. Can we have a second on Alex's motion?
I second that.
Okay. Can
Alex,
we
would you
call
mind
for-
clarifying that motion for me, please?
Oh, yes, that we award the 4 entries, 2 that came into the city and 2 from commissioners, and award each of them 25% of the prize, and all 4 of them win Holiday Decorating Contest 2021. Is that clear?
Thank you.
Any public comment? Anybody? Am I missing something?
Before we move on, can I just, out of curiosity, how much is that prize if we split it 4 ways? Not that it matters, I'm just curious as to how much money available is there. Do you know, Jackie or Mr. Little?
So I was actually gonna ask, because I believe that when the commission agreed on this, they were going to award 3 winners $100 apiece. And so since we're going with 4, I was just gonna ask, are we gonna did you guys want to award the 2 that submitted the full prize, and then maybe a smaller prize to the nominees, or however the commission wants to do it, but it was my understanding that we were gonna award 3 people $100 each.
Excellent. I think that giving the 2 people that nominated each $100, and then the 2 that are nominated by the commission, $50 each. When it's over with, right? That's 300. My math is right.
That's right.
on.
I'll amend my motion to that language, the 2 for 100 and then 2 for 50 each.
Okay. Do we need a second? Can we get a second, please?
I second it.
Okay.
Ramona.
Can we get a vote,
On a roll call vote,
please?
Alex Miller,
Yes.
Ramona Oleda Reed,
Yes.
Dennis Alexander,
Yes.
Shonda LaBeouf,
Yes.
Veronica Velasco,
Yes.
Ray Reardon.
Yes.
Unanimous, thank you.
Moving on. Consideration of allocated funds for struggling seaside businesses. Okay, do we have any staff that can give us any information what that's all about?
Well, I'm not staff, but this is Ramona speaking.
Okay, Ramona, please.
We were online, I think it was Ray and I, online with the 2 commissioners, or excuse me, the 2 city managers, were they, Ray? I don't know, I can't remember. But they proposed that we use our $4,000 to go onto Facebook and post ads, and they can actually zoom in on a type of person or a type of neighborhood, or I'm not technically savvy here, but they can do that to help spread the news of all of downtown businesses. And it looks like it'll come out nicely. We didn't think all that money should go toward a billboard. We thought that money spent well would go to these Facebook ads. And, just like us, when we purchase something, all of a sudden you see all the pajamas come up because you wouldn't ask for some pajamas from Macy's or something like that. So I guess they're able to go in there and target certain audiences. But the idea is to get the word out that Seaside is alive and well, and please come and visit us. And I'd like to know if the commission is on board with that. Is that okay? Because it's getting pretty late. It's my fault for not bringing it up in December, but I wasn't prepared. And Ray, did you want to speak on that? I think you were online with me, weren't you?
No, I wasn't online for that. I was out of town.
Alex, was that you? I can't remember who was online with me. I thought it was Ray.
Yeah, I was online for that and talked about what you talked about, the Facebook ads, but when I was talking to Councilman Pacheco, it sounded like that money hadn't been spent yet, or there was something with that money. Maybe there's more clarification.
Oh, the money's not there?
Okay. If I may, LaShawna just had to step away for a few minutes, so she asked me if I could take over until she gets back. But yeah, so Dave, could you clarify? Because I'm not too aware of what Ramon is talking about either. Would you mind clarifying?
This is to my knowledge and my understanding. The council approved all your recommendations back in June of last year. Part of the recommendation was $4,000 for promoting businesses, as I remember, as I understand. I heard second round, I guess, that the commission ideas or staff idea was to use money for Facebook ads. You can do that because you do have money, i.e. I hate to use this as an example, but for the bridge, the painting of the bridge, that money's still out there because it hasn't been spent yet. So you have the allocation to do that once staff is ready to do that. That $4,000 for the promotion can be used for advertising, as Ramona mentioned. If staff does it for Facebook ads, and seeing what I overheard, I think Ernesto has good knowledge in that, as well as definitely the assistant city manager. And he thought, in my brief discussion before you guys brought this up, was you can maximize your dollars with Facebook ads, and that's a new promotional tool. As far as getting most dollars for your limited dollars, because most of you know a quarter page ad in the Coast Weekly cost about $750, and that's one time. But a Facebook ad is extremely a lot, 10 times cheaper than that. Where you can reach out to, they could target it towards target age groups. They could target market towards certain sections of Seaside. There's a variety of tools that you can use to target, or the city could target who they think is appropriate to target in the areas of businesses they choose to target. So it's all up to the direction of this body to inform staff that's the direction, or agree to direction, move it forward and spend those funds. Hopefully that was not too harmful or kind of gave you a clue.
No, that was good, Dave. Thank you. And before, I don't know if LaShawna's back yet, but before I ask for comment from the rest of the council members, I'd just like to get some clarification, because I really don't know, and this never came up years ago when we had issues like this. But using a commission's funds to promote private enterprises, is there a legal issue here? I'm assuming, since the city manager suggested it, that there's not, but I just want to make sure we get that out of the way before.
Just to answer that, hopefully, if you were to target one downtown, that might be that way. But if you do the whole city as a whole, or if you were to target all Filipino restaurants, that's not maybe a concern. But if you're targeting marketing a broader area to include business on Broadway, the entire city, to spend a little bit of money on Broadway, the North Seaside and South Seaside, if you mix and match the funds up, it's not. But if you target only restaurants, or whatever it be, you just have a broader base, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Rather than it's so you can't promote all thrift stores. That would not be fair to those that are not thrift stores.
Right. All right. Thank you, Mr. Pacheco. Are there any questions or comments from commissioners? Seeing none, I haven't heard LaShawna's back yet, so I'll bring it to the public. Any questions or comments from the public on this issue? Sounds like there are none. Let's bring it back to the commission. Is there any more discussion needed before we bring it to a vote? If there's someone who wants to make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to make a motion unless someone wants more discussion on it.
I think Councilman Pacheco has his hand up. Did you want to add something, Councilman?
No, that was, my computer's kind of going up.
Take your hand down.
I can't, because my computer is all blacked out now.
Oh, we can see you clearly.
I can't see you guys.
I put your
I
hand
just-
down.
I just like to add that I agree. I think this is a better way to use this money to promote our downtown section. If we were, we were thinking about a billboard or something, but I personally feel not many people look at those anymore. Doing it through something like Facebook or electronic media, social media is a much better way to get information out there. So with that, I think Ramona, did you have were you going to make a motion?
Yeah. I'd like to make a motion to have city staff specific, use our $4,000 to advertise Seaside businesses, to include restaurants and other appliance stores, et cetera, not to specifically go on one field in Facebook coverage.
Second,
Okay, we have a motion made from Ramona, a second by Mr. Miller. Any other comments? Okay, does this call for roll call vote, or is this all commission vote?
I can do a roll call vote, no problem.
Okay, we're ready.
Alex Miller,
yes.
Ramona Aleda Reed,
Aye.
Dennis Alexander,
Yes.
Shanda LaBeouf, Veronica Velasco,
Aye.
Ray Reardon,
Nay.
Okay, looks like the motion carries with one no vote. And so it carries. Okay, I have to apologize. I don't have the
agenda.
order of the items in front of me here. I got home from work just before the meeting started. So Jackie, would you mind telling us what the next one is?
Sure, so the next item is consideration of neighborhood cleanup days for 2022.
Okay, good. This
Oh, I
one's
didn't
close to
know.
my heart. Okay. So I know that last year we had a one in, I believe it was September, and then was that the only one we had last year? I know we had one the year before. I think we only had one this past year, unless I'm missing one. Does anybody remember?
I believe you're correct. I believe we had the one, but put out several dumpsters rather than just one location.
Right. Okay, thank you. And are we still looking at, I remember green waste, one, this was quite a contention at some point about the number of dates that they were willing to supply dumpsters for. It was a little bit different than from when I was on the city council, what we had voted for and what it is now, but it is what it is. We'll go with what we've got. And did we want to look at more than one date this coming year? More than one cleanup, in other words? I love that if we could. Mr. Pacheco?
Just wanted to, and I don't know the answer to this, Dave Littlewood, or can get the information. The money that you allocated last year, the larger amount, the $100,000, there was a significant dollars for an overall city one that you did a great job in doing. What I thought I heard someone say only about half of that was used. So I'm making this up. If you budgeted $8,000 based on what they donated and what the money used, you only used half of it. So potentially with the money that was previously approved, you could have a entire city wouldn't do that again, or you could have multiple ones for the second half of this year. And again, I don't know what was budgeted and what was spent out of the recommended dollars, but as I vaguely recall, there was significant dollars left in the money that was approved by the large pocket of money in services. So, and again, I don't know the dollar amounts. I'm Dave Little might, or can find that information for you. I'm sorry, Dave, for putting you on the spot, but you would know that better than I.
No,
Bill,
that's,
you want to add on to that?
that's great. I appreciate being put on the spot. No problem. I believe it was $2,000. I would have to check to see what was actually spent.
Well, given what Councilman Pacheco had just brought up, I would like to see, in fact, I think it might be a better idea to have more than one, probably two, with the amount of money that has been budgeted for these projects. And, you know, it may be that we didn't, I know in the one that we had in September, we didn't get all the dumpsters filled up as we would have liked to. And it might be because it was a time of year, you know, putting everything on one date. You know, I mean, everybody can make it. Many other reasons possible as well. I think we may have more success. Not that that wasn't successful, I think it was, but more success if we did split it up maybe twice a year, maybe once in the spring or late spring, late summer, of course, when it's warm out. Any comments on dates, times of the year?
No, I just know that whatever Dave Little mentioned, if I'm making it, if you have $1,000 left, I don't know how much those dumpsters cost. You probably want to do it by the end of this fiscal year, because that's when most things, money is spent in a fiscal year. And Dave, you can correct me if I'm wrong again. But that most times city government wants to spend the money that was allocated as the large sum as best they can within the fiscal year. And Dave, Mr. Little, I'm sure can tell me that I'm wrong, and that's fine.
No, you're absolutely correct.
Then we would want to do this sometime before mid-year, July. Again, I think we want to go. If the issue here is dates. I think we want to wait until after the rainy season, so sometime after March, April, sometime after that. What do y'all think as far as dates? Possible dates, or at least times a year.
If I may, this is Alex. Now that we have more of a budget for this, I personally would like to see it, you know, at least once a quarter, 4 times a year. And I know that Mr. Alexander, you're a big fan of this. And so I'm thinking maybe 2 citywide ones and 2, I mean, I don't know, but I'd like to see it once a quarter. That would be my preference.
I agree with that. I would love to see that as well. It keeps it in people's knowledge that we have it rather than once or twice a year. So if we're able to, if we can afford to do it once a quarter, that would be great. And you know, we also have to get the greenways to understand that as well, if that's what we want, and push for that. And what we did in the past was just we had, you know, early springs, if I remember correctly, or maybe it was 3 times a year. But anyway, it was spring, summer, and then fall. Maybe it was 3 times a year. But if we can do it once a quarter, that would be great. Yes, Mr. Pacheco.
Just reminding you, and I'm not trying to be whatever I'm not trying to be. You allocated $2,000 off over 100,000 last fiscal year. This is a new fiscal year coming up in June 30th on. You're going to have 100, as Mr. Miller suggested, you're going to have 107,000, basically 108,000, because I think it's $107,993 that you could recommend for, you can allocate this year, but then you have money for the next year as far as your recommendation goes out of the $108,000, basically. So the funds are, if the council approves whatever you recommend. But there is an opportunity there to do it once a quarter based on the Airbnb funds, for lack of a better terminology. So the door is open for you to do it if you allocate the funds as far as your proposal goes. Does that make sense, Mr. Miller?
It makes sense, yes. Thank you, Councilman. It makes total sense, which is even more reason to push if that's what we want to do for a quarterly cleanup. And that's where I'd like to see us go, is a quarterly cleanup, a separate part of the city each quarter, or as Alex mentioned, 2 citywide, and then maybe 1 northern part of the city, 1 southern part of the city, however we want to do it. But I believe that I would love to see a quarterly effort. Yes, Veronica.
And this is probably not a good time to bring it up, but I have brought it up before. Not everybody has a truck, and there's some elderly people. And I do see some, when I'm doing my walks with my dog, I do pay attention to some of the people that I'm walking in the neighborhoods. And not everybody has access to a truck to go drop their stuff off. I see some people with a lot of debris and stuff out in the front of their house. I thought that maybe we can just do maybe just once a year. I'm not sure how to do this. This might be a good time, but like there's a service called You Got Junk or something like that, and they go to your house and they pick it up and they remove it for those people that have a lot of stuff in the front of their house. And I was trying to, those are the ones that I want to pinpoint on, because I know many places that I've seen, and I don't know what's going on and why they don't jump that stuff, but could we somehow maybe on a different time add that? Not everybody has access to a truck. They don't, and it's overwhelming. I thought maybe we can just do like maybe once a year, or I don't know how to figure it out, but go to them, get the truck and load all the front and then get it over with on some of these houses. It's just a thought. Maybe we can bring it up on a different time, but not everybody has a truck. Just my thought.
Okay, you mentioned truck coming from where? Veronica, you mentioned the
like,
truck.
yeah, I'm sorry. So there's these like You Got Drunk, we'll remove them, like these trucks that go, like these people that go and they pick up You Got Drunk, and they have these trucks and they go to your house and they undo it. I've used them a couple of times where I wasn't able to get a truck. They came to my house. I had everything on the front. They picked it up and they just removed it. It wasn't like Waste Management or anything. It was a different company, and I used them, and it was overwhelming. And so they came and I just put everything in the front. They just picked it up and they took it. And, I just didn't have the truck and the time to do it. And it gets overwhelming. And some people I know that they're trying to put it on the front, trying to get it out. And so I'm not sure if that's what's going on, but not everybody has a truck or people to help them take it to those dumpsters. So I was thinking maybe for those, maybe there could be some type of one incident where that can happen. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Well, for the service that you're mentioning, to your knowledge, are they willing to only do this a certain number of times a year? I'm of the opinion that if we have the more cleanups, then just more opportunity for people who don't have a truck, more opportunity for them for us to help them.
Well, yeah, I mean, maybe we can get in contact with some of those, because I know there's lots of them. I looked on Craigslist. I've used them myself actually, and I've called them and I got some bids, and they came out and like, I don't know, different times, and they came out and they picked up my stuff. And I mean, I didn't have the time to do it, and I put it all in the front of my like example, in my driveway. I put it all out there on a tarp, said, take all this, take it out, and they just took it, and they gave me a price, and that was it. And and they took it away, and I'm just saying, not everybody has a truck to go and do these things, and like to take a refrigerator, to take big large things. Not everybody has a truck. I mean, just saying, and it gets overwhelming, and I see these things piling up, and I know I see couches and big large items. I don't know, maybe there's something that we can do set aside just for one of those things. I don't know. I'm just saying we could look into it at a different time, but I would like to do something like that. We could talk about it on a next time, but it's just something to consider.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments or questions? Well, if I may just add to Veronica, what you brought up is that one of the real benefits of the cleanups, because I just heard you mention, I'm not aware of, well, it's not necessarily, it's a service, but something you still have to pay for, correct? And one of the real benefits of our cleanups was that we bought the dumpsters to the community, so it was free already. So, yeah, I mean, the people we're talking about who maybe already, they would still have to pay for the trucking service, whether they brought it out to the dump or not. That's always been one of the big benefits is we bought the dumpsters to the neighborhood. So, yeah, well, you know, we can talk about those more. So I think the conversation right now is revolving around number of times per year, and then possibly dates. You know, we had one each year the last couple of years, and then Alex had talked about, and I back this, had talked about quarterly. Are there any more comments on having a quarterly or 3 times?
If you're asking if on Fort Quarterly, that'd be great. Is Green Waste going to do that at their expense, or is that something that Nick has to provide funds for to get them out there? Because that would make a difference to me.
Right. And I know that in the past, it depended on a lot what Green Waste was able to provide. And, but then, I'm talking about the past, years ago, we didn't have the funds to pay for them. And it sounds like, according to what Mr. Pacheco said, we do now. So if we were willing to dip into our funds to pay for it, if we think this is important enough to pay for the dumpsters, then we could probably do that. Am I correct in?
That would be for next year.
I'm sorry.
Wouldn't that be for next year if the funds that we're going to get designated in June or to be spent is going to be spent for next year? Is that correct?
Well, just a couple thoughts, and again, Mr. Little's already referred to this, if I'm correct. You were allocated approximately $2,000 out of the 100,000 plus last year. You probably didn't spend the entire $2,000. Mr. Little's going to check into that. And that's not NIC funds. That was indirectly was NIC recommended funds to the council that was approved. So if you have any money of that $2,000 left over, that money can be used for this from January to June. And then when you allocate money for next year and you want to do 4 times, and if the council approves it, and let's make it $6,000, I'm just throwing out a dollar amount, then you can plan quarterly if the council approves your overall recommendations. Does that make sense? I know it's because it's different funds. You have an NIC budget, and then you have this other chunk of money that has to go through another source of activity with council approval. So it's kind of 2 different things, but it's money that you have the opportunity to recommend. So there's some positive services that can be provided with the correct recommendations and council approval. I'm not sure if that helps or not.
Well, I'd like to close this up because it's getting too lengthy on cleanups. I think we all agree that we want the cleanups, and we don't know about the funding for this year 2022. So why don't we have 2 for the year 2022? Because we know we can get that if there's any monies left over. And then as Mr. Pacheco said, we can make funding available for next 2023 for 4 times. But right now I'm making a motion to do it twice a year.
I need a little more clarification from what Mr. Pacheco said. So Councilman, you're talking about, or maybe Ramona, you're talking about twice between now and June 30th on the fiscal year, or twice throughout the whole 2022?
I'm saying calendar year 2020.
Okay. And Mr. Pacheco, you're saying we're going to get a new budget in July 1st to maybe do two, so we can afford it, two before that point, and then two more in the fall if we're going to do quarterly?
It gets complicated. Maybe Mr. Ford, Mr. Miller, Mr. Dave can help me out here. You have a money that you budgeted in NIC that the council approved as the overall city budget. Then you have dollars that you recommended for the advertising in the city, for the park, neighborhood cleanups, for the bridges, for the street park signs. That's a whole nother huge, significant dollars. So there are two different allocations of funds. Dave Little said, or Mr. Miller Little said that he's not sure what was approved. I mean, at $2,000 that you believe was allocated, you may have not used all that money. You probably didn't use all that money for five, whatever, but you know, so there may be funds there. The city operates on a fiscal year ending June 30th. So the city's calendar year, which is is from July 1 to June 30th. Again, that may not help you, but you potentially have funds to do 4 times a year if the city council continues to recommend extra appropriations of dollars based on Airbnb, and that it gets very confusing, and I apologize.
Okay, so let's just
no
get
need to.
2022 done.
I'm sorry, Ramona, would you repeat that?
I think we should just finalize 2022, the cleanups, just
Yeah.
designate how many times, and then we'll go with that. If it doesn't work out before, then it doesn't work out, but.
Right, and I think the councilman just clarified enough for me to agree with that. So then, any other comments? It sounds like based on what Ramona said, and I'm getting more clarification that maybe twice this year, because we're not, the next budget is not guaranteed until later in the summer. So maybe twice this year we can do. Any comment on that? Okay, how about dates? Any potential dates, or is it too early to talk about dates rather than just?
Mr. Chairman, the fourth Sunday in March is National Cleaning Week. That's during the start of spring break. So I propose probably March 27th, it's a Sunday. And then if we want to do 2 before the budget's up, then sometime in June. So June 26th, that would be March and June. Then we can do 1 or 2 in after, if the city council approves our recommendation.
Okay.
But I would suggest March 27th and June 26th as proposed.
Okay. Are those both Saturdays, Alex?
They're Sundays.
They're Sundays?
Yes.
Is it possible we can make it on the Saturday just before those days, because it's Sundays with church and other things going on, it's tough for people to make those. So we've always had them on Saturdays. Would that be a problem?
Not at all.
Okay, so it'll be the 26th of March, and what day in June?
25th.
So both the 26th. Okay. Any more
I think
discussion?
June is the
That's always good dates
25th.
to me. Okay, June 25th, so March 26th and June 25th. Okay. If there's no more discussion on that, then Alex, if you don't mind, I'll take that as a motion.
Yeah, I make a motion that we have a citywide cleanup and have multiple dumpsters on March 26th, in the morning till the afternoon, and again for June 25th, both Saturdays.
Great. And that's a motion?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a second?
I second.
Veronica Velasco made the second, and then as always, we'll flyer the neighborhoods prior to that and decide soon what neighborhoods we're going to be doing. Oh, citywide. Okay, and let's take it to the vote then for March 26th, a Saturday, and June 25th, a Saturday, for our citywide cleanups. We're ready for the vote.
Alex Miller,
Yes.
Ramona Leda Reed,
Yeah, yes.
Dennis Alexander,
Yes.
Shanda LaBeouf, Veronica Velasco,
Yes.
Ray Reardon.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Jackie, if you could, like I said, I don't have the agenda in front of me, and it looks like Mashana's not back yet. Could you please tell me what the
Absolutely.
next item is?
So the next item is consideration of designating citywide rubbish removal day. This was an item that was brought up by Commissioner LaBeouf, but I don't know if anybody else has any information on it.
Yeah, I can talk about it just for a brief second. I sometimes take my car down to the auto row and then I walk back up San Pablo to my house. When I walk up San Pablo, I just notice trash on the street, Slurpee cups, condom wrappers, things that I don't think we should have on our streets. And we have too many parked cars for street cleaning. So could this commission commit to doing one street a month or one street a quarter? Or could this commission commit to cleaning up one street at a time, just like our friends at FOSPA are cleaning up one park at a time? Can we clean up major streets one street at a time, 1 hour, Saturday mornings? That's all decided.
Alex, that would be with almost much less resources, no dumpsters, but just bags, I'm assuming.
Just us and bags, right? And some stuff to, pick up trash, like the handheld clippers that you can pick up trash. And this doesn't have to be decided today, but just to kind of get the ball rolling, to start thinking about it, if the commission likes the idea or not. It was just an idea.
Good, good. Comments from commissioners?
I like the
Yes.
idea a lot. In fact, I'm part of FOSPA. And FOSPA right now is doing, as you well probably all know, a park every Saturday, cleaning it up, planting, etc. And at one of our meetings, we had a Tanya Roos there from, it's Tanya Roos, ROOS, from Blue Zones Project. She's the community program manager, and she organizes cleanups around the peninsula and all of its beaches too. But she has been working twice now, well, 3 times, where we're at a park, she does that neighborhood, and she has her own volunteers. And I talked to her and said, we'd like to partner with her. And I was wondering if the commission would like to partner with her to have them help us clean up the streets of Seaside. So with Alex's idea to grab a neighborhood or a couple of blocks, we can also use this Blue Zones project. They're located downtown Monterey on Washington. And she said she would like to partner with us. So I'm asking if, or maybe consider the commission's yes on that. Does that sound okay, that we have someone that's already in tune with cleanups? Not that it's that difficult, but she does have her college and adult volunteers helping her. How does that sound?
I think it's wonderful. I would love to meet with on a different time. Yes, I think it's great. And I like, we can maybe do maybe twice a month and I don't know, maybe get the community involved. I don't know. We can when they put out the FOSFA does it. And yes, I think that's a great idea. I like that.
I think it's great. Any groups that we can get involved in our effort and ours and theirs when it comes to cleaning up the city, I'm all behind. And I just got indication from someone who knows about that group, my wife, that they're a great group. So yeah. Any other comment? This is good.
So I got a question for you, Alex. In cleaning up the streets, how would we clean up underneath the cars that are parked there constantly? Because I know the city cleans our streets for us with the machine and they can't get to it. I mean, are you talking about using blowers or what are you looking at?
I was talking about getting you underneath the cars.
You were?
No, I'm just kidding. Uh,
Actually, I think that's a great idea, Roy, Ray.
Well,
I've done it
I'm
before.
not suggesting that because
sorry.
But I mean, I think it's a great idea because I've done it in my area and other areas where I actually clean sometimes I clean my street, my side of the street, and I clean on the opposite side because when I look at my window, I don't like to see stuff. So I sometimes clean my neighbors' 2 houses, the neighbor next to me, and the neighbor right around. I clean the whole street and I sweep it all. I do. Where sometimes we can't move our car in time for the city sweepers, but I do that, and I get the blower, and
Yeah.
it's real quick, and I blow it out, and I do it all the time, and my street, I want my street to have very clean, and
Yeah.
I don't mind, doing that, or I don't know, I like that idea because I do it all the time.
To piggyback on what Alex said, I lived in different cities and they do the street clean and everything. And what we did in our area that we lived is we put up the city sandwich boards to make sure all the cars were gone that morning when they were coming, or the police would ticket them. And that solved the cleaning of the street rather than having us clean the street. We already cleaning the street. We removed the cars that shouldn't be there anyway over 72 hours. But we got involved by putting up the sandwich boards for the city. We got our little truck with the city employee, and then we placed them out where the 2 days before, and we put them all out there to get our city streets cleaned. And that's how we spend our time, rather than trying to clean under a car that's been sitting there for 2 weeks, and you're not going to get all this stuff anyway. Just a suggestion to look at because we are paying good money, I think, to have our streets cleaned, right? Does anybody know that? Dave? That's
Yeah,
all.
it does cost money. I'm gonna just throw out 2 thoughts, Ray, I
Uh-huh.
think your idea is a great idea. Just the reality, and Dave Little can confirm this, because when I used to work with the city, staff used to be able to do stuff like, volunteers used to be able to do stuff like that back in the day. The new day is that volunteers, and Mr. Little can correct me, can't put out barricades, anything like that out, which I may disagree with, but that's the way it is because of liability issues. Other groups have offered to do the same thing for parades and whatever, but because of or even blocking off Canyon Del Rey for events, but it became an issue of liability and police protecting and laying them out right. And again, Mr. Little might be able to confirm that, but there was the overall person that's involved with suing cities and things like that, lawyers and
Unions.
yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
It's concerned about the liability issue, so we can't have volunteers to do it. But back in the day, 20 years ago,
Mhm.
it was much more. We all work together to achieve goals, but sometimes that is done because of one lawsuit or whatever.
Yeah.
Again, Mr. Little maybe might be aware if I'm wrong, which would be great. But that's been my experience, or what I've been told.
That is correct. I used to work for a city where they would pull up a pickup truck and it was full of rakes and shovels, and they would just start handing them out to people that would sign their name, as volunteers. And they would work in, medians. They'd put on orange vests, and it was kind of a volunteer group. There's a lot of liability associated with that now, and you're talking about these A-frame barricades. somebody sets one up and it falls over on someone's car and scratches their car or creates a dent, or someone's going down the sidewalk, doesn't see it and trips over it and says, well, it was set up improperly. So that is correct. There's a great deal of liability associated with everything. And so, but we're here as staff liaisons to work with the commissions and to, we can use our city staff to do a lot of these things that we used to be able to just do in the past. But yeah, absolutely, we have to be careful about liability.
Yeah, liability goes on if us walking down the middle of the street picking up, junk and getting hit by a car and things like that. I'm just saying, great cleaning up the streets. I'm all for it. But my problem is the cars that have been sitting there for 2 weeks that no one's calling it in, or the street cleaner that comes down Wanda, he might get to the curb once every 100 yards. It's just too many cars. So, but anyway, that's my input.
Well, I think that the main issue of this item here tonight is that we've got a group out there who wants to work with us, and they're all about spiffing up the neighborhoods as we are, and it sounds like we want to work together. So I think that this is something we do what we can at the beginning, and then we take a look at some of these other issues as we approach them. But there's nothing to stop us from, as Alex said, or those of us who can make it, working with this other group, FOSFA, an hour on a Saturday once a month or something, choosing a street and picking up little, in addition, other people in the neighborhood are seeing what's happening and they might join in.
But that's not a liability issue. That's not a liability issue of us doing that work. I'm just asking. I don't know. I'm willing to do it. I'm just asking.
I don't think any more than having our neighborhood cleanups. I can't see why it would be anything more than that.
I think that we could, I think we could just, maybe like on a different time discuss this. And I think the idea is great. We can go on, this can go on and on and on, but let's have maybe another special meeting and take these ideas and then move on to the next on the agenda. I don't know. I'm just saying, what do you guys think?
Jackie, was this item to take a vote or just discuss? Or Alex, how did you see it tonight?
If we came up with a solution, or if we came up with an idea and a proposal and we all agreed, we take a vote. But if we just want to discuss it and then put it on the agenda for next time, then I don't think it needs a vote. I'm okay to keep on continuing the discussion on this one.
Same here. Let's just keep on a discussion and go on. It's hard. We got a lot of things. I think we should just discuss it on another time, my opinion.
Okay, so we'll keep it. We'll keep it on the for the next agenda and talk about it some more. We think of some more items, but I just want to close this item with saying that we've got other group out there that's willing to support us. And
would it be possible to invite that group to one of our next meetings?
Sure.
Agreed. I like that, actually.
Good
Idea.
Well, I was going to ask the chairman of the board, if you will, this Tanya Roos, because she said she would be willing to talk to us. So can I invite her to our next meeting so she can tell us what her group does? Yeah. Okay.
That'd be good.
Great.
Okay, so we'll put this on the agenda for the next meeting. Okay. I haven't gotten an indication yet that LaShonda is back yet, so let's move on. Jackie, if you wouldn't mind, please.
Sure. Last item is assignment of neighborhoods for House of the Quarter 2022.
Okay. What area is this?
I think we have to assign the areas, put each commissioner to an area at the beginning of the year.
Right.
We designate commissioners to each area.
Right. Okay.
So maybe that can go out to us via email, because I don't know if anyone has the map available to them right now.
Yeah, I don't have it in front of me. I think that would be that's a great suggestion. We want to maybe do it by email and then volunteering area.
I
Okay,
will email a copy of the map to all the commissioners in the morning.
Great,
thank you, Jackie.
thank you. Okay, and you said that was the last item, correct?
So if next item is actually reports from staff. I personally don't have any reports. If David does, it's your turn.
Right, so I don't have a report, but, I did want to express appreciation on behalf of the city and myself and Jackie for 5 years. Alex Miller, it's been a pleasure working with you. Alex I've been with the city for just over 5 years, and Alex has been there that entire time. I think Ramona Reed maybe has been a continued kind of a continuing commissioner that's continued to serve during that period. I know that Dennis Alexander had been on the commission before. Unfortunately, I didn't have the pleasure of serving with Dennis previously. But I know a lot's transpired over the past 5 years. And this commission has been instrumental in spearheading many positive changes that have been of great benefit to Seaside residents. And so I just want to express my appreciation. It's been a pleasure working with you, Alex, and I look forward to continuing to work with this commission.
Thank you, Mr. Little. Appreciate that. Alex as well. Thank you so much. Okay. Any other staff reports? Anything else?
I think we can move on to commissioner reports.
Okay. Anybody have anything they want to report out on?
I have no emails to report for the neighborhood improvement emails.
Mr. Reardon?
No.
Alex?
I just want to say thank you, and staff, it's been a pleasure working with you guys. We really need to come up with something for the $108,000. So, Mr. Chairman, if we can either create a subcommittee or have a special meeting, because the $108,000, it's one of these things where if we don't use this money, it's possible we might lose the money. And I think with all of our creative minds, we'd be able to figure out something. So maybe not this meeting, but we desperately need to figure out a way to talk about the $108,000 that we have, because we need to get that to city council like right away. Thank you.
Right, thank you. I'm really glad you brought that up. And what I'd like everybody to do for the next meeting is think about that. Let's think about that, because that's a lot of money. And again, Alex, thank you so much for you working with Mr. Little and the council and the staff in general, Jackie, for raising that. It's a lot more than we ever had in the past. And this was never an issue, how to spend that kind of money years ago. So if we could all think about that, so take a look around and think about where, we've got all this money, how can we use it in bettering the city?
Should we look into maybe allocating a little bit longer meetings for that to discuss those projects? Because it seems like when we start discussing something, and I'm not pointing fingers at anybody on this, but then it says, well, we need to move this on, or we need to get the time's running out and things like that, where, or we'll talk about it next time, and then there's no resolution at that time. And I'm used to, I'm sorry.
No, I hear what you're saying. I'm getting at the hairdresser. That's why I'm in and out of the, I'm sorry. But I was thinking that maybe we can have a special meeting about the 108,000. Is that what
Yeah.
we're talking about?
Yes.
Yes.
As opposed, yeah, that's cool. Ray?
Yeah, I'm listening.
No, how did you feel about that?
Yeah,
Is that what you're thinking?
allocate maybe 2 hours that we've set aside in our lives to discuss this. So everybody gets their input in it and we get some good ideas. So we don't keep putting it off and off to the next meeting or to the special meeting. Just the way I work. But
That sounds good. Okay, I'm gonna check out.
Rhonda,
Yes,
can I throw out an idea for you or just for you to think about?
yes.
At the last time they allocated, I think it's a great idea because $108,000 that you're going to recommend to the city council is a huge chunk of change that and needs to be taken very seriously.
Mhm.
Because sometimes, not you guys, but other groups have these grandiose ideas that are not reality bound where the city wants to do it. Last time, directly or indirectly, I'm not sure how it was done, but I know other commissions came forward, suggesting ideas. So it's not just one group, making rest. Everybody felt like part of the overall team. I don't know how you did it as far as individuals, how you reached out. I don't know. I know you didn't reach out as far as going. Some of you reached out probably when you visited other commissions, but I think if you can reach out beyond just this small core of people to other commissions directly or indirectly, maybe they have suggestions to add to your ideas, i.e., I'll use this as an example. One of the commissions had an idea of trees. And from the Parks and Rec, one idea had an idea regarding whatever it be, but they felt part of the process by you reaching out to them to say, hey, what do you think? It could be just a simple dialogue. And again, you guys did that last time by reaching out. And I just don't know how you do, but I think reaching out is a good thought process if we are one city working together. So just a thought.
That's a good idea, to have a dialogue with the different commissions, to reach out and find out if there's a way to collaborate to beautify the city. I mean, that's our goal, and that's our neighborhood, to beautify our neighborhoods. I mean, our goal is to live up to our mission statement or our so that's a good idea. I'll turn it back over to you, Dennis.
Thank you, Shonda. On that point, Jackie, would it be possible to, if we can, get some contact information from particularly Parks and Rec? I think our group in there is just something that works short hand to hand, and maybe follow up on what the councilman was saying, and I'd make some contact and see what they have in mind, and and we can just go from there, starting with some dialogues. But yeah, it's a lot of money we need to use. So if we could come to our next meeting with some ideas or at least with some contacts. Ray, did you have something you want to say?
Yeah, I think we can come up with some great ideas of our own for NIC and not share our money like we have in the past. I mean, we need sidewalks put in. We need things like that to be done that we could do little steps at a time with this $108,000, and not so much planting more trees, but making our more. Some streets have no sidewalks, and no one's doing anything about that. It's things like that I wish we would look at to beautify our city with a little bit more. I'm still on the thing of painting this bridge thing that I don't understand yet, but I have to get my head around that it's passed. But, we could be putting in a section of sidewalk in front of someone's home to beautify that. But that's what I'm looking at, hopefully.
Right. I understand. We just need to keep in mind that some things may require us to go in front of the city council because they have to then do contracting for things like sidewalks.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
there would be that. So
yeah.
Just remember, this is really important. whatever you recommend is a recommendation only. $108,000 will go to the city council and they say, yes, no, we don't like A, we want to replace it with something of their own, they can do that. So all I'm saying is, you have allocated dollars in your general budget. This is a separate pot of money. You are recommending to the council, they will go over your list like they did last time and say, hey, this is a great idea. This is I'm just saying they have the final say so. It's not that's all I want to make sure it's totally clear. I like the idea of sidewalks personally. They're very expensive, but I like that idea. I understand your point.
Okay, any other comments?
Nope.
Okay,
Well, I do think that we should have it start with us first instead of going out to all these commissions. So I do agree with Ray in that portion, that we should start with us and we should make a date for that special meeting if we can now. And I suggest February 11th around there.
okay. So then let's think of some projects. And are we going back to monthly meetings or still quarterly?
We can make a meeting anytime we can, right?
We could, but that would depend on some other factors as far as staff being available, as far as an area being available if we're going to go back to in-person meetings. But I know we went to quarterly because of, I don't remember exactly the reason, but it's a new year. And maybe, Mr. Little, maybe you can comment to that. What do you know about possibly going back to monthly meetings, if it's necessary?
So the direction that I was given was that we're on a quarterly meeting, but the commission can always do a special meeting. And if you want to do a special meeting once a month, I think we would do our best to accommodate that.
Okay,
Cool.
thank you. Okay, so our next meeting then, if we were to, unless we're going to make a special meeting, our next meeting would be sometime in April, March or April.
Should be the first Tuesday in April, correct?
First Tuesday in April, okay. Unless we have a special meeting to talk about using our budget. If somebody wants to bring it up right now, we can, or contact either Jackie or Shonda or maybe me, and we can talk about having a special meeting and talk about our $108,000 and uses for it. Okay.
Let's just have one February 11th and talk about our ideas.
February
There you go.
11th.
I mean, and if we got to have another one in March, that's what we do in March to get some things rolling. I mean, wait until April, you've lost quite a bit of time.
Right.
But February.
Alex, do you have a comment?
I just wanted to agree with Ray about the sidewalks. We desperately need to talk about doing some sidewalk repair and about keeping the budget here in NIC. February 11th on my calendar is a Friday. Can we do February 8th, Tuesday?
February 8th is a Tuesday? Okay. I mean, that's normally when we have our meetings with our Tuesdays. Ramona, was there a reason why you mentioned the 11th?
No, I just wanted that. No, it was that week. That's good. The 11th was Friday, right?
I'm good with it. I mean, the teleworking or the telemeeting or the Zoom meetings, I'm good with that. So yes, definitely.
Okay.
February 8th sounds good to me.
Yep.
February 8th, Tuesday, first Tuesday, or second Tuesday rather, in February.
Right
Yep.
on.
Okay, great.
I agree. The April's it's too long.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Okay. Before we adjourn, any other comments or questions? All right, well, thank you all very much, and we will see you in a few weeks in February, I guess. All right, have a
Thank
good
you.
night. Thank you, Jackie.
All right.
Thank you.
Good night.
Councilman.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Dennis. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you. Hear the dryer?
Thanks, Shonda. Congrats.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.